Hey, CJ here, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to install the Checkpoint Gaia operating system. I have already created one video on CCSA where I told you how to build, where I explained you how to build this thing. Now we're going to be replacing these things, the firewall with the Gaia operating system. Everything will remain the same. This is not going to be a lengthy video, and because in this video I'm going to be installing the SMS, the headquarter gateway, this one, and the console. The DMZ, the console, SMS, headquarter gateway, and probably the router, because I want to be able to show you the communication from here to here, if this thing works, right from the console to the router. Okay, so I have added just 4 images at this point in time: the H console, the router, the DMZ, and the SMS. And I would be adding one more, and that would be the security gateway itself. So virtual machine, click on add and click on new, next, next, and this is the operating system, Checkpoint R75.40 Gaia. So double click on it, click on next. You have to choose Linux or Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5. Next. Oh, okay, go back. HSG for headquarter security gateway. I have already created a folder ahead of time, and we have to install this thing in that particular folder. So VM Gaia, and I believe this one, yes. Okay, so click on next. That's fine. Bump the space to 40 gigs. You can remove unwanted hardware, printer, USB support, add 2 interfaces for the DMZ and the WAN. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Alright, so let me just go through the properties of the team once again. So we have HCON, router, HDMZ, SMS, HSG for the headquarter security gateway. We have the LAN segments at HLAN, the HDMZ. Let me rename this to capital H, DMZ, and the WAN. And now I am going to make these images join to a particular network. So HCON goes to the HLAN. Router in this particular video will have only one interface. That's going to be HWAN. Okay, the HDMZ is going to be part of the HDMZ LAN. The SMS is going to be part of the HLAN, because it's going to be inside the network here. Okay, and the SMS, the security gateway, will have 3 interfaces. The first, I'm going to start from the left to the right: LAN, DMZ, WAN. Okay, so LAN gonna get HLAN, DMZ is gonna get HDMZ, and the third one is gonna get the HWAN. So LAN, DMZ, WAN, left to right. Okay, now we may want to add another interface to the HCON and also bump its RAM to about a gig, because I have seen that the new Gaia takes a little more RAM, but I mean, I would say 256 MB more, but I would like to still give 1 gigabit of RAM, because this computer has got a lot of RAM. At this point in time, the utilization is about 2.47, so that's okay. And we would like to give it one more interface. This interface is going to communicate to the internet, the actual internet, through my wireless router, because while installing the Checkpoint smart dashboard, there are a couple of applications which are required if you already have it. Like, for example, if you're installing this thing on a Windows 7 operating system, then it is not required, because I believe the .NET framework 2.0 and 3.5 are pre-installed on that platform. But this particular Server 2003 computer has does not have that thing. One more limitation of Server 2003 is that the Gaia operating system cannot be accessed using the Internet Explorer 7, which I believe was the last operating system, last Internet Explorer which could be installed on a Server 2003 platform. I may be wrong, but I don't think it was 9, IE9 or IE10. IE9 and IE10 was not compatible. I'm not sure. Let me see on the internet if it's actually there. IE9 for server 2003. It is there. On server 2003, IE9. Installing I'm Yogesh. Okay, IE9 is not supported on this. Water requirement expanded. Anyways, not a problem. So I have installed IE7. It's not supported, so we're going to be accessing the the web GUI through the Firefox. Okay, so add couple of interfaces here without bothering about these things. All right, so click on OK, and did I add another interface here? Oh, I added 3 No, I didn't want to add 3. I just wanted to add 2 of them. Let me remove this as well. Add another one. Yes. And at this point in time, do not join it to anything. Do not join it to the network. That's perfectly fine. Alright, so if you can review this thing, HCon has got 2 interfaces. One of them is connected, the other one is not connected at this point in time. Router has got one interface which is connected to the HWAN. HDMZ has got one interface, SM has got one which is connected to the LAN, and the security gateway itself has got 3 interfaces, one connected to the LAN, DMZ, and the WAN. So at this point in time, I would like to first switch on the computers, the Windows machines, 1, 2, and 3. I'm making this video because if you have seen my earlier video on CCSA, what you have to do is that you can build the entire topology on this Gaia. I am just trying to show you how you can install the Gaia and get it, set up the basic stuff. All right, and once that is done, everything pertaining to creation of the rules and all those things are absolutely similar, right? Or like there will be like 2-3% change, and that's it, right? Some new tabs in the smart dashboard which we're going to see. So this is booting up. We're going to be just giving it a name and the IP address. Let me just quickly log into this. This is done, and this is booted up. This is booting right now. I have installed a lot of applications. This is actually a template on which I have installed many different things. A trial version of eDraw and all those things, which is going to expire anyways in 30 days. And the DMZ is also booted up. So let me just rename this to wait for a moment, let it initialize the driver. Nope, cancel it, close. Close. Okay, now I think it must have initialized the driver. Just give it a minute. That's perfect. That's fine. Okay. Now HCon. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Router. Okay, the router is also done. Third is the HDMZ. Alright, all 3 images are named. I would like to tell you something about the hardware, the hard drive IOs. This particular computer is computer or setup is running on a desktop computer, the VMware, and this particular desktop computer has got 3 hard drives. So there are 3 different spindles running in the host operating system, which is Windows 7. This is running on a different hard drive. The VMware images are running on a different hard drive. You can very well have this kind of setup run on a laptop, but the problem is that because of the hard drive, because of the laptop host operating system as well as the VMware running on the same same hard drive, it tends to little slow down the entire process, and then there could be a lot of paging if you do not have adequate amount of RAM, which could be upwards of 12 gigs. If you want to if you want to use the entire, the bigger lab or the full scale lab comprising of at least 12 images and all, right? This particular computer has got 3 hard drives. All right, so these images are booted up, and now I'm going to just give it a IP address, and we would be ready to go with the Windows images. Okay, close it, close it. This is disconnected at this point in time, so this is going to get an IP address of 192.168.1.2. 192.168.1.2, 192.168.1.254. That is going to be the IP address of the default gateway, which is going to point out to go out of the network. This one. So you can click on OK. You can check this. Click on OK. This is done. It's okay. Now the DMZ. Right click. Properties. Just hold on a second. Sorry, got a call. Okay, now double click on this, and we going to give it an IP address of 192.168.10.50. 192.168.10.50, 192.168.10.254. That is going to be its default gateway, and for the router we only have one interface. No, thank you. Alright, and that interface is going to get the IP address of 220.2.2. 220.2.2. No default gateway because it's a router. Close it. Done. But we are going to be creating couple of static routes here. So go to this, not this one. Routing and remote access, this one. Right click on it, configure it, next. Click on custom configuration, next. Click on LAN routing, next, next. Yes, to start the service. Okay. We have to do this so that the ICMP messages could be replied to ICMP messages from the host machines on the internal network or from the DMZ. Now, new static route. There's only one interface, so we have to give 192.168.1.0 mask 255.255.255.0 gateway, which should be 220.2.1. This one. Okay, 220.2.1. 220.2.1. This is the first network it has to reach. The second network it has to reach is 192.168.10.0. Once again, 220, 2, 1. Alright, so this is the internal network of the headquarter, this is the DMZ network of the headquarter, and this is the gateway, which is going to be receiving all the traffic for those two networks. Now we are through with the configuration of all these images. It's about time to start the SMS, so power it on. Okay. The very first time that you power it on, you'll see this thing. If you already have an operating, it's just like a Linux installation. If you already have Linux installed, then you can choose this one. Otherwise, you can click on this one. So if I click on this one at this point in time, it's going to give me an error message. Operating system not found. So I have to get out of it, power it off, and power it back on. And now I have to choose the first one. Okay. In the meantime, I can just try to suspend these images to reclaim some of the IOs. 1, 2, and 3. The amount of memory utilization is about 3.28, and if you were to go to the resource monitor, you will see there's a spike in the hard drive section, and that would be about disk. And there's a spike. It's going to come down. A lot of read writes happening right at this point in time. Not a problem. So this is going to happen in the background. I will also like to install this thing simultaneously, so I'm going to do that. Okay, this process will install checkpoint Gaia R75.40. You want to continue? Yes, we want to continue. Click, press enter. Okay, choose the language, the keyboard. Now, if your SMS server is acting as a log server, log logs, then you may want to bump its size here by giving something a larger value. However, if you are just going to be using this thing for the SMS, then you may want to give this thing 20, and probably, oops, 20. Oh, I hate when the keyboard doesn't work. Hold on. 1, 2. Okay. You cannot change the system swipe size, so 13 becomes, I would say, 20, and log size is fine, and it's going to automatically adjust the size of the backup image. Now click on, if you're not satisfied with this thing, you want to click on default, then that's okay. You can click on that. It's going to jump back to the same default values. I would choose this one and then click on OK. Now the password, I will going to, like I told you the last, the CCSA module, keep just one password for everything, for all the user accounts, for expert mode, the basic mode, so that you do not forget the password even if you are revisiting the lab after n number of days. Okay, so I'm going to keep the same password even if it's termed as the medium in terms of its strength. I don't care about the strength right now because I am learning something, right? This is not a production network. So click on OK here. Now this particular IP address thing, I believe it's correct. Yep, 192.168.1.1, and if we just hit the tab, it will going to autofill the default gateway. That is also correct. We don't want to choose this. Click on. All right. The next stage of the installation process will format the hard drive. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. Now get back to the security gateway. Click on OK here. This one, I would say we may want to change this to 20. That's fine. Click on OK. Once again, the same password. Alright, checking network ads. Select the first one, click on OK, and type the IP address of this one is 254. There won't be any default gateway on this side of the network, right? So you can very well skip that. Oops. Delete it. 192.168.1.254 is the IP address of the internal interface of the firewall. Click on OK. Yes. Now you sit back and watch the installation. I can pause the video, but I don't want to do that actually. Since this installation began a minute back, so you can just watch this video. So administration web portal. It's going to install a lot of blades. This is actually the first part of the installation. The second part is a slight difference. While this thing happens, I would like to show you two PDF documents which you must have at your disposal in order to be able to gain inroads in Gaia. Now, we all know that the Gaia is actually as a unified version which comprises of the good features of both the IPSO and the splat. Right, so for IPSO, for the splat, it relied on CLI. For IPSO, it's the CLISH, C-L-I-S-H. And in order to be able to gain inroads in the Gaia operating system, you need to have these two guides. I'm going to put this name in the description: the CP R75 Gaia Administrator Guide and the IPSO. Because all these commands, you'll be surprised to see the new commands. You don't have to go through the entire book in order to get some expertise. It's like horses for courses. If you are if you have to deal with a particular technology where you required some kind of hands-on on the CLI, then you may want to go through the book for that particular section. However, if you are working for Checkpoint and you want to you in that case you will have to read a lot, because you will be dealing in the customer network all the time, and you have to have some kind of knowledge about the CLI and commands which are actually required to troubleshoot stuff. So these two guides, I'm gonna put their name in the description, so you can just download it from the Checkpoints. I think it's 2.58 MB this one, and about 1.73. No big deal. One more thing, the sysconfig is gone from the Gaia, and it is replaced by I don't know what. It's gone. cpconfig is already there. Now at the end of this installation, the second part would comprise of the configuration of the Checkpoint one-time wizard. Right, we have to use the one-time wizard in order to be able to configure the basic settings like the domain name and all those things. We used to do that using a script, the sysconfig script. That script is gone. Like I told you, cpconfig is there, with which by using which you can reset the secure internal communication password, but the sysconfig is gone. So let's wait for this installation to complete, and then we'll show you how you can run through those steps in order to be able to configure the basic stuff. The RAM utilization is 4.71. That is all. No, it's gonna go up once I re-enable these things. So it's installing all the Checkpoint blades, and I'm actually very much impressed with the new graphical user interface of the firewall. It is really cool. Now there are three modes of installation, or three types of installation: the Checkpoint Security Gateway, and the SMS Both can be installed. That is cool. You want to keep an eye on this thing, the HTTPS. So let me just hit OK here. Both Checkpoint Security Gateway and SMS can be installed on the same appliance. Both the Checkpoint Security Gateway and the SMS can be installed on a different appliance. And in the third setup, it could be the Checkpoint and Checkpoint Security Gateway and the SMS running in hardware availability mode, the HA mode. Now this looks like Windows, man. The Windows is actually booting up. It looks cool. This is also done. That's the beauty of VMware. I love it. This is booting up. This has booted up. Once it boots up, then we will enable all these images. Okay. We can log into this thing not at this point in time, but there's no need for it. Let me just wait for this guy to boot up. This completes the installation of the Gaia. And now we have to install the checkpoint, the security management server, and or the security gateway, as the case may be. So let me enable this guy, this, and DMZ, and the router. Okie dokie. Alright, this is done. So let me use Internet Explorer 7 https://192.168.1.1. It is not going to work. The browser you are currently using is not supported by the Gaia portal. It's recommended to use most recent version. How many times has Microsoft faced this problem, man? Even the Gmail does not work. Anyways, so we're gonna make use of the Firefox. This is the latest version of the Firefox 22nd, I believe. And since we got that security warning, it means that the HCon is able to communicate with the SMS server. That's a good thing. So HTTPS 192.168.1.1. I understand, accept, confirm. Password and the username, both the username and the password is admin, and it's going to prompt you to change that. Excuse me. Not a problem. Go back here. You may have to log in here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. I created a password while installing this thing. Whew. I'm so much in the R75 platform right now. Mode of thought process. Whew. My bad. Okay. So this is the first time configuration wizard. You have to go through this thing, otherwise this is not going to work. You cannot do that. There's no script like sysconfig in order to carry out the same task. So once you're presented with this thing, click on next. Today is 27th August, absolute latest video. And click on next, give a name to it. I would like to call it, this is the SMS, so SMS domain, leave it, not a problem. Next. Accept it if it's correct. Next. Like I said, you can install both these things in the same on the same appliance. So at this point in time, I just want this guy, and it's going to be the primary, no secondary, no log server. Security management. Next. Administrator name should be what? Michael. Same password which I use for the admin account. Not a problem. Next. IP. The GUI client. Okay, the GUI client is, this is a very good thing. So I'm actually accessing this particular SMS portal using this computer, so it actually acquired the IP address. That is awesome. Yes, I want this particular computer to be able to communicate. Only this particular computer. Next. Finish. Now it's going to configure. The system will start the configuration process. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. It's going to verify the configuration, install security management, compatible package, and finalize the configuration. So it's going to take some time. Let's get back here. We can go back here and open another window. HTTPS 192.168.1.254. Yes, I understood. Thank you. Cool. Same username and the password. This configuration is okay. Right now there's a lot of read writes happening, so you might get stuck a little bit. Don't be afraid. Yeah, a lot of read write happening. Compatibility package installing. Okay, this is the first time configuration wizard for the security gateway, the headquarter. Next. Accept the date and time if you want to. If you want to configure the NTP, you can do that here. Next. And HSG. Next. IP addresses. This is not going to show you the additional Ethernet interfaces. It's only going to show you the management Ethernet interface at this point in time. The other Ethernet interfaces would come up once this has installed the security gateway and has rebooted. Okay, so click on next, and we have to install the security gateway, and it's not going to be part of any cluster at this point in time. Click on next. Is this gateway dynamically assigned? No. Activation key. This is the SIC ABCDEF. A, B, C, D, E, F. Let it be like this, no problem with this. Not a production network. Finish. Okay, and yes. I believe this is done. No, it's still happening. So both these guys are having their system getting installed. And this believe is so 6.20 GB of RAM is the utilization. I have given this guy 1 gig of RAM, so otherwise it would have been 5.75 something, but that's okay. And what is the disk this is done. SMS is done. Click on OK, and now it's going to reboot. And if you want to see what's happening in the background, so you can click on this console window and it'll show you. Click yes to reboot it. Sorry. Click yes to send a device. Sender recommended the download installation. I don't want to do this thing. He can click on OK. Clicks yes to send. No. It's a good idea to actually reboot the firewall. I reboot the SMS server once the installation is done, so I would like to do that. Reboot it, yes. about SG? So while it is rebooting, you can see what's happening. Come on. How about this? Oh, this is also done. Cool. This is going to automatically reboot the security gateway. It's rebooting right now. So this will also going to show, yeah, rebooting. System started. This is what is going to show on the GUI, and this is what's going to happen in the background. It's still rebooting. I think it's done. Now it's doing the final stages. Okay, this is done, and we are presented with the login box. Admin and the same password. Without much further ado, I will going to show you all these configuration windows. Click yes to send data. No, thanks. Let me first download the management software, and it is going to be not the system management software maintenance. User management, system group. Okay. There's so many options you could tend to get lost. So system management time, process, host access. No, it's not going to be under routing. It's not going to be under this. High availability. No. Maintenance. Image management. Okay. Let me log into the other one as well. In the meantime, this is the firewall HSG basic. Okay, basic sounds better. Roles, image shutdown, status policy, software updation, notification. System configuration, no. Where did that go, man? Network interfaces. I'm actually looking for the smart dashboard software. Where did it go? Well, so it's right up there. It used to be here, man. I mean, I tried installing it. Let me see if we can find it here. SmartConsole. I did find it here somewhere. It's actually downloading the file. Okay, it's downloaded. Let me see if we can find it here. It used to be here. Mail notification, system configuration, System login, network access, host, change the GUI client, no, VRP, image manage, download SmartConsole, there it is. I was like, I have seen it somewhere. It's the same thing. SmartConsole. My eyes were playing tricks on me. I couldn't see this thing. Download SmartConsole. Not a problem. So this is downloaded. Now there's a need to invoke or the connect the second interface, and you can use NAT. Where did I acquire the IP address? Because we have to install a couple of applications. Once again, if you are using a Windows 7 or latest version of Windows, this may not be required. But for Windows 7, Windows 2003 server, this is very much going to be the case. All right. If in this computer, so the first requirement is Microsoft.NET Framework 2.0. If you have in this installed ahead of time on Windows Server 2003, then it's perfectly fine. So click on install. It's going to small installation. It's going to take just about 5 minutes. While it does that, 6 minutes for. Let me go through the through this. This is SMS. Let me go to the SSG. Okay. Now, advanced. This is the beauty of the new interface. Look at this, so many options. Let me start off with the network interfaces. So we have already configured the first interface, and going from left to right, we have to give this guy an IP address, and first of all we enable it, an IP address of 192.168.10.254. This is the DMZ interface. I'm sorry, I have to put this thing here. 10.254 static mask 255 0. You can type it HDMZ. This is grayed out because we have to enable it. This is the basic difference between Gaia running in R75 and R76. R76 in R76 IPv6 support comes to life big time. So if you have experience on R76, you will see that IPv6 is natively supported, like natively enabled or pre-enabled, if you want to put it that way. Here you want to change the speed. I would like to use the default value, so IP address is configured, and you can click on OK here. Now configure the WAN interface, type WAN here, enable it 222.1. I believe that's the right one. Let's see, 220.1. Perfect. And this is fine. So click on OK here. Now we are through with the configuration of all the three interfaces. So click on static route. The default by itself, the default will be there. So just click on this, click on edit. What kind of next hop type? Next hop normal, black hole, if you can read it. Black hole is drop packets. It's like a null interface that we have in the Cisco routers. Ranking is okay, and default gateway is the IP address. You want to give the IP address of 222.2. Priority is 1. This actually governs if you have 2-3 default gateways, routes, I would say. Ping, that's fine. Click on OK. This is done. And similarly, if you want to add, if you want to go in here And you want to add the bridge mode, the bond, the LAN. I'm going to be talking about these things in the future videos, but this is just a basic installation of the Gaia. Time as is self-evident. Look at this, man. It looks pretty cool. SNMP, you want to configure SNMP, you can, you know, do it here. Mail notification, proxy, messages. The system is like a banner in Cisco. System logging. Look at this. This is so cool. And this is actually taking the best features of both the IPSO and the Splat. Splat was always behind IPSO in terms of routing capabilities. Is this done? No, just like it's installing right now. Perfectly fine. So we are through with the configuration, the basic configuration of the SMS. The SMS and the security gateway, and we are finishing the installation of the .NET Framework 2.0, and after that we're going to be logging into the smart dashboard and adding this particular firewall to the SMS, and that will actually bring the end of the video. Is it doing anything right now? Let me see. Performance, yep, it's doing a lot. CPU utilization. MSI executive is running right now. Okay. So the .NET framework is installed. Yes. Visual C++ also it's also required, so you can also have it installed ahead of time. Now click on next, accept, next. I would like to select everything. 663 megabits of installation. You choose to install Smart Lock. Smart requires .NET Framework SP1. Please install before Smart Lock. That's okay. It's not gonna install .NET Framework 3.4 right now, 3.5 right now, but you can install it later. So everything is so, graphically enriched. But when you get back to when this is installed and you see the login box, you see what a dampener, man. It's the same thing. I'll show you. It's gonna be only couple of minutes to go. Anti-bot blade. You can read all these things if you want to. It's pretty exciting. Well, the anti-bot blade and all those blades, let me tell you from the enterprise engineer's perspective. Now, Checkpoint might come to you and, they can actually, vouch for a lot of different products, a lot of different blades beyond the basic requirement, like the web filtering and all those things. But if you have a blue coat already in your network and all those, web app web page filtering applications, then there is no need. I remember that when I was working in my last company, Checkpoint actually asked us to try out this web filtering application, and they were giving us a huge discount on that because there was a new initiative from those guys. However, the blue coat was charging us a bomb because it's already a settled product. So now you'll see a new graphical user interface. What? Is the same thing? Yeah, it's the same thing. So just type Michael here, and the password, the same password which has been going all the while. Hold on a second. I topped the back. That's the password I've been typing. Compact123. I typed the wrong. I wish I could just exit it. No, it's gonna take a while. Thank God. Let me put it this thing. It's a simple password. Put it here, and 192.168.1.1. Yeah, that is the password. Whew. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, yesterday I was trying to do the same thing on my laptop and the computer got stuck at the screen. Now I could have just closed it, but we would have crashed the computer or crash VMware. So I just waited for it to bounce back, reclaim some of the IOs. So as you can see that there are a lot of tabs. This is already there. This was also there. It's little heavy. Yeah, RAM utilization is about 500 and the CPU utilization is already going over the roof. So you may want to give two CPUs to this particular H console because it's got a lot of animation. Anyway, so get back to this firewall tab, and we want to add one network, then incorp underscore internal 192.168 1.0. That's fine. Make it blue. Fine, fine, fine. That's fine. Okay, one more network for the DMZ. DMZ. This is fine. DMZ. Add a couple of hosts here. Nodes. I would like to add the DMZ server 192.168.10.50. Oops. DMZ server. We can name this thing to the DMZ network. Okay. Now one last host would be the GUI client, and that is 192.168.1.2. This is done. Now we're going to be adding the checkpoint firewall to the management server. So click on the first one, classic mode, HSG 192.168.1.254. This is going to be the one. And A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Hold on a second. Cancel it out. Check this one, and this. The rest, everything is fine. You don't have to select anything. It's going to automatically acquire the information from the firewall. A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's see if it works. It works like a charm. See? Trust established. Everything is fine. Topology acquired. Click on OK. Close. Perfect. Now, in order to be able to test some communication, you can click on rules, click on this. By default, the cleanup rule will be added, install anywhere. This is so sweet. See the hit counter, the cleanup rule, and this is fine. The source could be anything. Track. I will going to give you the demonstration of this thing in the later videos. Let me just give you the information top. This is going to be the management if I can get the spelling right, management rule, and management should have access. This guy should have access to this. Come on, this, and the SMS server should have access to the firewall, and the service should be HTTP and nope, HTTPS. HTTPS. Yep. Track, and then I'm going to create another rule here, that is the stealth rule, STELT, stealth rule, which is going to disallow anyone to gain access to the firewall. Any source, any destination would be this guy, anything blocked. Log, this has to be approved, this has to be blocked, this has to be blocked. Now, in between this above, we are going to corp outgoing. And corporate internal network source, destination could be anything. This would be allowed, this will be tracked, and finally we are going to create DMZ incoming, and DMZ source could be anything. DMZ server service, I would say HTTP proxy and HTTP and FTP. This is not required actually. I'm just playing with this. Enabled log. Okay. Save this policy. You want to verify, you can just do that. Click here. It's gonna run through the checks and see if there is any discrepancy. Everything is fine. Push the policy. Yep. Let me see if the firewall is able to ping all the interfaces, all the networks. So ping internal network is working fine. Oh my god, 192.168.10.50, it should work. Ping 222.2, that's also working. The router is also working. It just took a second to ARP. Policy is pushed, and if everything is working fine, then we should be able to ping the firewall, ping the router. Ping 222.2. Yes, we are able to ping the router. That is perfectly working fine, and the router should be able to ping the server itself. 192.168.10.50. Hold on a second, please. Sorry about that. So why is the router not able to ping the DMZ server here? But that's not the problem. I'm gonna fix it. Okay, so this is the installation and the configuration of the Gaia. Alright, I just hope that you like this video, and bye bye. Thanks a lot.